Hello, everyone, and welcome to another incredible episode of Robcast Revenge of the Nerd podcast. Yes, it's been a while, babies, and I am back. Rob Sachetto here, creator of the Zombie Portrait and overall pop culture guru. I'm here to talk to you about doing comics, man. This is a big one. A lot of people have asked me about how to do comics, from the art to the funding, and basically everything in between. Like, it's a huge loaded question. It's a procedure that has a lot of questions involved in it. In the how-to department. I'm gonna preface this whole video by saying I implore you to check out Cartoonist Kayfabe by Jim Rugg and Ed Piskor. I'm gonna leave the link to their channel in the comments, and in the comments and in the description below. I think if you want to learn about comics and the various types of comics out there, there's more beyond Marvel and DC and Dark Horse and Image and stuff like that. There are a billion different ways you can do comics, in zines and fanzines and all sorts of things. I'm going to talk about, the stuff that I do, and the stuff that I get the most questions about. So, it's mostly the Marvel and DC style comics, right? I mean, that's what everybody's, most familiar with. But there is a multitude of ways to do comics, and there's a multitude of ways to actually, publish your comics and distribute them and get them into the hands of the fans. That's what we want to do, get them in the hands of the fans, and, create a following and things like that. So, I just recently, if you hadn't already known, just recently published my own comic and graphic novel. At this recording, I'm still waiting for the graphic novel. There are paper shortages and I mean just general shortages of stuff around the planet right now. I'll give you an example. I went to Staples, a box store, man, massive box store. I went to get white cardstock. No white cardstock. That's insane, right? So my graphic novel is being delayed at this point at this recording right now due to paper shortages. But I did get my actual comic, and so this was just published, man, and I'm so happy with it. It looks amazing, and so I've gone through the procedure of creating and publishing and distributing. What I'm going to focus most on today, I'm going to keep these short. There's no way I'm going to be able to get all of the questions answered in one video. It's impossible. But one of the big things is the art. The idea you probably already have. You probably have a lot of ideas on, what kind of comics you want to do, what kind of characters, and blah, blah, blah. But, and we'll get to the writing part of it later on, but let's talk about the art today. The art, basically comic book art, just like any other art, in my belief, is about communication. You want to communicate a message to people. So much more in comics because, you're trying to tell a story. You're trying to relay a story to your audience or your fans. Like art, I mean, I think that every piece of art ever made is a communication from the artist to the public. What that, message is sometimes, you know, a mystery. Sometimes it's difficult to decipher. Depends on the artist. You know, to me, I think that's the most important thing, is getting that message across. So your art, you know, you can pick any style for your art. It doesn't really matter what your style is, but your message needs to be clear, especially in comics. You know, again, anyone can argue anything I say. You know, in this video, the world is basically a place to argue things now, points. But you know, for all intents and purposes, I'm going to say, look, your art has to be clear and clean, and convey that message as simply and easily as possible. You know, look at look at comic strips. Comic strips convey a message in often one panel, which is fantastic. It's amazing, and that's the beauty of the medium. You know, you almost can't do the same thing in, like, you know, film or writing or like, you know, comics is a medium unto itself. It is extremely particular, very specific in terms of what it can do and how it tells the story. So if you look at, you know, I implore you, look at a lot of comic strips. Comic strips don't need a lot of panels to tell a story. You know, 4 or 5. Often, you know, panels can tell a story. If you can tell a story in one panel with one piece of art, man, you're doing great. You know, if you can do that, that is fantastic. And I think it's probably a good thing to concentrate on doing that before you start doing an actual, you know, multi-page comic. Try to draw, like, I know, like, 95% or 97% of the people, young artists I see on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter and all these other places, like doing, you know, 1 character drawings or 2 character drawings, like anime stuff or you know, video game characters, horror characters, whatever, you know, comic book characters, you know, cartoon characters and things like that. There's nothing wrong with that. I do that. That's kind of my thing, you know, zombifying, you know, those characters and things like that for my Zombie Daily site. And, you know, everyone starts out doing that, doing heads. Everyone does heads, you know, like a head drawing or whatever, you know, and usually uses reference to do so. Now, don't do that and think, oh, I'm going to do a comic book next. Like, you're kind of, you need a little bit more, you need some skills, man. You know, draw from life, man. Draw from life. You know, get that sketchbook out and go outside and sketch things, man. Trees, people, buildings. You know, one of the reasons why years ago I turned down working at Marvel and DC, aside from the fact that I was doing my own thing, was, man, I'd have to just draw stuff that I didn't want to draw constantly, like buildings and I know that's a shitty excuse, man, and that's not the whole reason. Obviously, that's not the whole reason I didn't want to work for Marvel or DC. There was other things happening at the time, but you know, you have to do that, man. You're going to have to draw establishing shots and things like that. If you have a story that you're like, oh man, I'm going to tell this epic story where all this stuff happens, well, you better be able to draw it. So get out there and improve your drawing skills, man. Don't just do heads and faces and, you know, things like that. Draw hands and feet. You know, one of the big things that people always come to me about is, like, how do I draw hands? How do I draw feet? You know, Rob Liefeld, man, he's one of the most popular comic book artists of all time, and still doesn't know how to draw hands and feet well. You know, but that shouldn't, you know, that shouldn't be a signal to you not to do it. Everyone should do it, man. Like, look at artists that, you know, study artists that you guys, you know, revere. Like, look at comic books. Check out the way comic books are written and drawn. As a comic book artist, you have to draw everything. Everything that exists and things that don't exist. Things that you will have to make up. Spaceships, alien forests and landscapes, all of these things, weaponry, stuff that you probably don't want to draw or hate to draw. But man, if you're going to write that story and include all that stuff, then you have to be able to draw it. So definitely work on your drawing skills. Your drawing skills are so important to comics, man. Like, it's a visual medium, so you have to be good. Like, I see a lot of stuff out there now that, holy shit, man. When I was first doing my Cape Fear comic, I did it over and over again because I was like, man, I don't like it. I don't think the art is good enough. And I look at stuff now, and the stuff I see that sort of passes for art now is, wow, it's pretty bad, man. On the other hand, there is also really good guys, like really good people out there that draw and can convey the message. And it's not that the drawing is shitty or anything like that. It's just that it seems like there's no passion and the message is lost. And you can there's definite room for improvement out there before it goes to press. So guys, really, guys, gals, really brush up on that art skill. Get it down. Post all of your stuff to your Instagram account or your TikTok or whatever it is platform that you're on. Get a following, get a fan following of just your art. Don't mix it up with your other shit, with your what you had for dinner and all the other crap. Have a dedicated art site. You want to build a fan following because fans will critique. Let fans critique. Ask fans to critique. Hopefully professionals will critique you too. I literally I'm in Sudbury. I drove to Chicago years ago to the Comic-Con there just to get critiques from artists, like established comic book artists. And it was hard, but it was absolutely necessary, and it improved my drawing ability, and especially my comic book drawing ability in a huge way. So try to get critiques from people, art teachers, other artists. I had a thing here, and you can actually check out on my channel. I would critique Instagram artists by going through their art. And I love doing that, but it seemed like people maybe didn't want it. I kind of discontinued it because not enough people kind of signed up for it. I did like maybe 6 or 7 people, but I would gladly do that again, man. I love doing that. I love helping. Like the critique is productive. So I'll give you pointers to help your art rather than just blind praise that you would maybe get from your parents or relatives or friends. I can pinpoint things. So if you want to do that, if you want to do that again, if you want a critique from me, I'm glad to do it. I'll maybe restart doing that again if there's enough people who want me to do it. I'm glad to do it. I love doing that. If I can help in any way, even in a minute way, it doesn't take much sometimes, to inspire an artist to do good work. So yeah, getting the art. Remember, it's communication. You're trying to communicate with your fans, with the public, with your audience. So you have to be very clear in your art. It has to be top notch, man. As top notch as you can possibly make it with your style. Now, again, you don't have to, I'm not saying, change your style or anything like that. You can keep your style. Your style will always evolve. My style is evolving even right now. I draw every single day, guys, every single day, and I've been doing that for as long as I can remember. So, passion is a huge part of it. You can't half-ass this thing if you want it to be completed. This requires your whole ass, man. There is no part of your life that probably won't be affected in some way by publishing your own comic, man. So get comfortable with that. But embrace it. It's a good thing. You're creating something that is Truly unique and amazing, and absolutely and entirely yours. But keep in mind that you are conveying a message. You're conveying your thoughts to people. Now, there's always been this thing where it's like, oh, you know what? Your audience is smart. Audiences can be smart. They'll figure it out. I wouldn't bank on it. I would, I would start out a little slow first, and then work people up to a more complex storyline or concepts and things like that. You have to be clear and work on that message. Get other people to read your thing and see if they understand what you're doing. See if they understand what message you're trying to, it's almost like a test audience, man. Because sometimes when you live in a bubble inside your own head, you live in a bubble or you live inside your own head, everything seems totally clear to you. It seems absolutely, you understand it, completely, and the world makes sense to you. But when you give it to someone else to read, they might have a hard time because they don't know the material. So you have to make it very clear. Also, create, sketches and model sheets of your characters, of your main characters. If you're doing a comic, you'll have a reference to go back to get those characters right, because you're going to be drawing them a million times, okay? So you want to be able to have your audience go, oh, that's the same character from 3 pages ago. Give your characters some distinguishing features so that, maybe thicker eyebrows on one, or weird, jagged hair on one. That's, whatever it is that you do, make your characters distinct and have model sheets for them. You're going to have to do character sketches for them. That's really important. So I think, starting out, I think that that's probably a lot of information for one video for you guys. I am gonna just assume that everybody knows nothing. Just so I can just so I can start at the beginning, because I get tons of questions and a lot of them are similar, but they're from different skill groups, age groups, and some people are like, oh, I've already got it, I've already started my comic, and it's and you know what, don't worry, man. I started a comic a million times, man, and got issues in, 2-3 issues in, and went, no, it's garbage. I gotta reboot it, or I gotta redo it, or whatever. It doesn't make sense. It's not good enough. Whatever. I have boxes of art, man. Boxes of art of finished stories that'll never see the light of day, man. And boo-hoo, too bad. But I didn't think it was good enough, and so I kept doing it, man. And now, the material that I do now, I personally feel is strong enough, for people to enjoy. Maybe the other stuff was too. I in hindsight and retrospect, I think it is, but it wasn't good enough for me. So I redid it, and there's no shame, or there's nothing wrong with doing that. That's why, again, if you're, and we'll talk about this as we go further, but you're gonna have to map out your entire comic, man. Do rough sketches and thumbnails and everything. You can't just start drawing a page and not know where it's gonna go. You might have an idea and then do it, but what's the next page and the next page and the next page? You might like drawing, action scenes and things like that, but you're gonna have to do talking head shots, pages like that. Establishing shots so people know where they are when they open your book, and there's so much involved. It's not just being an artist, man. It's being a writer. It's conveying a message. There's so many moving parts to this process. But again, it's nothing to be afraid of. It's just something that you need to be aware of before moving forward. maybe doing an entire comic isn't for you. Maybe doing like weekly, pages might be, or weekly panels might be a thing. You can still tell a story that way. So there's lots of stuff. There's lots of things involved in doing comics. And we'll discuss that as we go on in the next video, and the next video, and the next video. What I'm going to do from now on is I'm going to have to do this at least once a week. So, guys, my apologies for the delays in videos, but I'm not a video blogger like by profession or whatever. I love doing these for people and to entertain, but I'm primarily just an artist, dude. And I've been swamped with stuff lately so much with coming out with the comic, Cape Fear comic, and I mean, all the delays with the graphic novel, and then con season just started, and creating new content for con season. Anyway, I don't want to give you guys a whole litany of excuses why, but my life has been very busy, extremely busy recently, and it's not just the art stuff too, but it's other things. But anyway, and I had eye issues, man, from drawing too much. If you can believe that, too, on top of everything else. So I was like out for like a week and a half. I didn't really tell anybody, but whatever, man. It's just my thing. It's just the things you might have to deal with too, if you draw too much. But anyway, I know other artists have that too. But anyway, I'm gonna bid you guys adieu for now, and if you have any questions, leave them in the comments. Please give this video a thumbs up. Please subscribe to the channel so you can continue to get this valuable information. Don't forget to check out Cartoonist Kayfabe. Those guys are brilliant, and they put out videos, I think, every day, which is utterly insane. I don't know how they do it, but good for them. And they're not endorsing this. They don't even know I exist, man. I found them, and I thought they were one of the best resources in the different kinds of comics out there and analyzing things. So check it out. Thank you all for joining me today. I'm going to say goodbye now for real, and I will talk to you again very soon. Good luck. Keep drawing. Love and best wishes. Bye for now.